In today's show, the Blazers lose a thriller to the Knicks. One of the great games you'll see all season long, decided at the buzzer. And the Blazers come up just short. But there's a whole lot to enjoy from this one. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. As Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, what a stinking game. Blazers lose to the Knicks 114-113 in overtime when Mikal Bridges hits a jumper as the buzzer sounds, a true buzzer beater in Portland, and the Blazers come up just short. Just an absolutely fantastic basketball game. Obviously, the Blazers come up on the wrong end of this one. We'll talk all about it. We'll do our fastest recap in the West. But Scoot Henderson was really stinking good. Deni Avdija was really stinking good. The Blazers got good minutes from Shaedon Sharpe. They played their intriguing lineup down the stretch of this one, or at least my intriguing lineup down the stretch of this one. And they gave themselves plenty of chances, and Mikal Bridges just hit a shot. We'll get into all of that. Plus, there's a little bit of injury update news and even something fun that happened before the game even tipped off. This is going to be jam-packed. Let's get into it. Start with our fastest recap in the West. Blazers lose this game 114-113. It's close throughout. There are 42 lead changes, one off the NBA record for most lead changes in a game, 43 set back in 2023. Just a game where neither team could pull away. The Knicks' largest lead, 8. The Blazers' largest lead, 5. Neither team had a double-digit lead at any point. The Blazers never led by more than 2 possessions. The Knicks never led by more than 3. Just an awesome one. We'll pick it up late. It's tied heading into the fourth quarter. Neither team's got real distance, but then it's the Knicks start to threaten. Karl Anthony Towns hits a three-pointer in transition to give the Knicks a 3-point lead. Blazers come down. They can't score. Knicks, again, running clock. Now the clock is ticking under 90 seconds here in the fourth quarter in a game that neither team has created much distance. And Karl Anthony Towns, off an offensive rebound kick out, hits a second three-pointer. And Portland is forced to take a timeout. All of a sudden, after this game was right there in it, 104-98 with 1:16 left. It looks like this thing is out of reach. Enter Sterling Scoot Henderson. Your boy Sterling Jewell made sure the Blazers had a chance. There was the Blazers, they take this time out, coming out with like 1:16 left. Excuse me. And immediately the ball goes out of bounds and there's a weird challenge, and it turns out it went off Josh Hart's foot. But it looked like the Blazers come out of a timeout down 6, turn the ball over immediately, and are going to lose this basketball game. Go to a challenge, Blazers get the ball back, and out of that challenge, Scoot gets inside, Scoot takes a 3 from the right wing that he is way off on. He misses this shot by 3 feet. It hits the top of the square on the backboard and banks in, buckets, 3-point game. I'm telling you, he was way off on this one, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. 104-101, 1:05. Mikal Bridges hits a little mid-range jumper. Okay, back down 5. You're going to need to score. Scoot Henderson inside, strong drive through traffic and the foul. Karl Anthony Towns looks stunned at the call. Scoot scores and 1, 2-point game. Scoot Henderson responds. So Then the Knicks, now with 40 seconds left, are going to get their opportunity to just kind of ice the game, right? It's a 2-point game. If they score, they're going to get to run enough clock that it's going to be late shot clock. If they score, you're in a 2-possession game, and you're probably just in scramble mode. Like you're gonna need them to miss free throws and make some threes and in scramble mode. Instead, the ball swings to the corner. OG Anunoby on a 3. Long as heck. Josh Hart gets the rebound, cycles back out. He doesn't know that the shot clock hasn't reset. And he dribbles out from under the rim towards the 3-point line, and the refs blow the play dead. There's 2.5 seconds left on the shot clock. The ball didn't hit the rim. It wasn't close. I have a really good vantage point from where that basket is and where I'm sitting in the arena, at like the top of the lower bowl. And it was clear from my view that it didn't hit the rim. The folks who run the Blazers clock, they got it right. It didn't hit the rim, but the refs blow it dead. They challenge it. The Knicks, who took a really weird timeout with 40 seconds left, are awarded another timeout. They get a chance to set it up. With 2.5 seconds left, they get a chance to set up another shot that is going to, again, ice the game, push it to a two-possession game. But Mikal Bridges misses, and the Blazers get to go the other way. Except as they're going the other way, there is Scoot drives, and the ball gets kicked. They call a kickball. Okay, what the heck? What happened in the pushing transition? You get another little stoppage. Blazers get it back. Scoot, again, wheels out, attacks, gets into the paint. Pump fake, pivots, gets Mitchell Robinson in the air. They call a foul. Maybe a favorable call, but who cares? Scoot Henderson draws a foul, steps to the free throw line with 3.1 seconds left. Knicks out of timeouts, hits them both. Tie ball game at 106. We head to overtime. What a chaotic time we've already had. And now they have to play 5 extra minutes. In this 5 extra minutes, Toumani Camara fouls out with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. Blazers have to put Anthony Simons back in the game. Ants had an absolute stinker, and Jeremy Grant not available in this one, so they don't have really other forwards to play. They're not going to play Chris Murray. They put Ant back in the game. He's had a stinker, and they're having to go a little bit smaller, so not ideal for the final 4 minutes, or for final 3 minutes and 45 seconds. But this one, again, nobody gets any advantage. And with 15 seconds left in overtime, the Blazers are going to get an opportunity. Scoot drives. He kicked it. Or maybe Karl Anthony Towns kicked it, but they call another kickball. Another weird kickball. Blazers get it back. 12.5 seconds left, and Scoot drives hard down the left-hand side and just kind of airmails the ball out of bounds. He probably got hacked. Like, he probably got fouled. You got a favorable call late in overtime, or late in regulation. You don't get this call late in overtime. But he just throws the ball out of bounds, just airmail out of bounds. And so the Knicks are going to get it back with just over 7 seconds left, up 1. All right. Cool. Like, they just, they're going to make some free throws and win the game. Except Josh Hart runs the baseline on the inbounds. It was a dead ball, like missed, thrown out of bounds call, but Josh Hart treated it like a made basket. So he runs along the baseline, and they call him for a lane violation. What are you doing, Joshy? Get your head in the game, young man. Yikes. The Blazers get the ball back with 7 seconds left. They shouldn't have had it, but they do. They set up a play to get Deni Avdija an isolation against Mikal Bridges. They put him at the free throw line. They run a little action like they're going to run this like screen the screener and get the ball to Scoot Henderson, like a sort of a familiar play up top, like you're going to give him some space to operate. But instead, Deni Avdija, he just kind of gets to his spot at the foul line. They throw it over the top with the whole right side cleared, and Deni does what he does, kind of pivots, drives hard to the rim. Mikal Bridges did a good job of kind of shading Deni Avdija left. He has to go, maybe it's not like he didn't go like a hard left hand drive, but he couldn't get all the way to his strong right hand. Gets a shot blocked, crushes Mikal Bridges in the face in the process, gets his own rebound, puts it back in, foul, and 1. 3.4 seconds left. Deni Avdija is going to step to the free throw line with a chance to put the Blazers up 2. Cash. Stadium's rocking. There's 3.4 seconds left. The Knicks are going to take their final timeout. You know what time it is. The Knicks are going to shoot a 3 to win the game. You don't really have time with 3.5 seconds left, particularly with the Knicks like style of ball handlers they have, because they're playing this game without Jalen Brunson, who's out for an extended period with a severe ankle injury, severe ankle sprain. They're going to shoot a three. And that's exactly what they do. They run a dribble handoff. Basically, Mikal Bridges is the inbounder. Josh Hart, who's been guarded by Donovan Clingan pretty much the entire game, because that's how teams kind of treat Josh Hart. They put a center on him because he's a weird player. Josh Hart flashes up to the ball. He immediately hands it back to Mikal Bridges, who gets it moving to his left and kind of fading to the left at the top of the key. Cash. Buzzer sounds. Knicks celebrate. Blazers lose. What a freaking game. Blazers did everything that you could want them to do. They charged back from... Sorry, that's your fastest recap in the West. It took 10.5 minutes. 114, 113, Blazers lose. 42 lead changes in this game. One off the NBA record of 43. No team led by double digits. And the Blazers came back from down 6 with a minute 15 left in regulation. Responded a couple times. Took advantage of some breaks in the final 10 seconds of OT. Gave it to Deni Avdija in isolation. Said, do your thing. He did his thing after Scoot Henderson, who had 18 in the fourth quarter, did his thing, scored the final 8 points of regulation, did his thing to give the Blazers a chance. Like, it really is. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted them to do. This was pretty much it. And they lose at the buzzer. I think it was a fantastic basketball game. It's an entertaining basketball game, scrappy and gross. The Blazers, they lose a game by 1 at the buzzer. They missed 9 free throws. Deni missed some free throws, 7 of 11. Scoot missed some free throws, 6 of 10. They combined, go 13 of 21. They were the majority of the Blazers' free throws. The Blazers only took 25. 21 of them came from Scoot and Deni. Like, those dudes missed free throws in a 1-point game. The Blazers committed 23 turnovers that led to 31 points. That was kind of sloppy. They didn't play a perfect basketball game, but they played tough as nails, and they gave themselves a chance, and you're talking one shot to decide it. This was entertaining, fun. I thought you got some really good moments. Let's talk more Deni. Let's talk more Scoot, a little Shaedon Sharpe, and some other thoughts on the final play of the game in that second segment. Join me there, won't ya? First, though, I want to tell you that this show is brought to you by our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes used to be waiting, wondering, and worrying if you were going to get any money, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible, file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and you start building wealth. You can kind of easily track all of your expenditures and budget better and smarter and save more. And instead of having to use multiple apps, you can track all of your spending, all of your finances, and make some long-term financial goals all in one convenient and easy-to-use place. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right. Sterling Jewel Henderson was fantastic down the stretch of this game. But I thought Deni Avdija set about as strong a tone in the opening minutes as you could possibly ask for. I thought his physicality was really, really important early in this game. We'll talk about Scoot in a moment. Let's start here with Deni because that's kind of chronologically how it happened in this game. Deni had 8, 7, and 2 in the first quarter. 8.7 boards and 2 assists. He had 11 rebounds in the first half. Deni was really stinking good. He was really, really stinking good. I kind of think his box score, and it was a big box score, right? He had 27 and 15. I kind of think his box score understates how important he was to what the Blazers needed, because it wasn't just the scoring early or the rebounding. It was the fact that how he was scoring. He was going right to Mikal Bridges' chest. He was driving into the teeth of the Knicks defense. The Knicks scored 18 points in the paint in the first quarter. This was going to be a physical game. Knicks playing without Jalen Brunson. They don't really have that kind of like natural pick and roll operator kind of guy that like allows them to be a little more fluid. Although like Jalen Brunson is kind of a foul merchant in and of his own right. So it's not always the most fluid watching him, but he's obviously very skilled and very talented and has great footwork. Like it is, but like the Knicks themselves were gonna have to. They did score 130 something against the Kings, but like their offense is going to be a little more challenged because you're just like more Deuce McBride, the Swish King, but more Deuce McBride and maybe a little more campaign, although he didn't play that much. But Deni said, okay, if you guys are going to play, if y'all are going to play physical, if the physicality is going to come from this sort of like this classic Thibodeau team, I'm ready to dish some out as well. And I thought the way Deni played was so fantastically important early. Obviously, he has a huge bucket late. The would-be game winner. It's just classic Deni Avdija. They throw him the ball with a live dribble and the right-hand side open so he can get, he didn't go full right, but like it's designed to give him space to operate and do what he does. And he catches it at 15 feet. So he doesn't have to, it kind of gets rid of some of his challenges in terms of like, he doesn't have the craziest handle to like maybe operate out from 30 feet all the way to the rim. Gives him a chance to basically take a power dribble, one power step, use his strength, use his physicality, Deni rocked in this game. He spoke afterwards just about like, how this was kind of a heartbreaking loss, but there is a certain part of Deni that is just proud of the way this Blazers team is playing right now. Even when they're losing, they are losing playing the right way, playing tough. He mentioned the overtime game in Cleveland. He mentioned the game against the Warriors and the game tonight. It's like they're playing playoff level teams. They're giving them a whole bunch of trouble, and the games are getting right down to it. And teams are going to have to make plays. And particularly this one is just like neither team could pull away. Obviously, the Knicks on the road and a little bit shorthanded, but I thought Deni was great. I think this might have been the most enjoyable Scoot Henderson performance of his career. I know he's had bigger games. He finished with 30 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, and just 3 turnovers in 37 minutes. I know Scoot's had bigger statistical games, right? I know he's had some, the 30-point double-double, I believe. I think this was the most entertaining, and maybe one of the best games of Scoot's career. And it was intriguing how it went down because this wasn't Scoot playmaking. This was Scoot saying, give me the ball. I'm going to dribble into my own shots, a lot of them at the rim. Now Scoot making threes is a game changer. He was 4 of 4 from 3 tonight. But importantly, he was 6 of 12 inside the arc and got himself to the free throw line for 10 attempts. If he makes a couple more free throws, first of all, Blazers might win. And second of all, it's just an elite efficiency nights where he has 32 plus. Makes them all. Who would have 34? I can do the math. I can do some basic arithmetic, but like reasonably, he's about a 75% free throw shooter. He hits those. You make 2 more free throws, roughly, 32 points on hyper efficient shooting. It's just a couple free throw misses away from a hyper efficient night. He didn't have a big assist night. He didn't have a big rebounding night. He had a give me the ball and I'm going to go get it type of night. 18 in the fourth quarter, the final 8 points in regulation, and really like turbo scoot, right? Like, obviously he made a crazy bank three at the end of regulation, a shot that he missed. It just happened to go in. But early in the second half, early in the fourth quarter, he had a play where he just kind of like, it was the third quarter. He just kind of he got Mitchell Robinson on skates and kept on dribbling, circled around and made a layup in the rim. I thought he was really assertive getting into his spots at the rim, driving into traffic, playing fearless, an and one with 40 seconds left that cuts it to 2. That was a huge bucket. Even late in the overtime when he just like airmailed the ball out of bounds, there was a ton of contact there. They didn't call it, but like that's a confident play that he could have drawn more free throws on. At the end of regulation, he got the ball in his hands and said, I'm going to make it happen. And he did. Ends up drawing a foul on, maybe, in my opinion, somewhat dubious, and he may have traveled, but like a foul on Mitchell Robinson because he went and he got his offense. 18 in the fourth, final 8 points of regulation, and just an assertive, attacking, downhill scoot. Obviously, the three-point shooting is a big part of it because it opens up some of his driving. But I don't think necessarily that's what happened in this game. I think in general, scoop making threes is going to help him become an even better downhill player. But I think specifically in this game, I think he's just relentless getting downhill. He used his speed. He used his change of direction. He hung in the air and used his strength and his gigantic hands to like hold on to the ball and finish through contact, or at least get shots up through contact. Scoot's great. I think this was one of the most entertaining, the best Scoot games, and particularly just the way he played in that fourth quarter. Because he hadn't been very good. He hadn't been bad, right? But like, He had 10 points. He had 10 points entering the fourth quarter. He finished with 30. He was great. Shaedon Sharpe had 21, 10 in that second quarter to kind of keep the Blazers around. 10 in the second quarter, 17 in the middle of two quarters, 10 in the second, 7 in the third. Like when things weren't great because Anthony Simons was horrendous. 2 of 11, and one of his threes was like a 30-foot late clock, handed a grenade at the end of the shot clock, threw it up and made it. Fun make, but he had 6 points. I thought Kamara was fine. He finished with 14, but this was not, and he ended up fouling out in overtime, but this was a Deni game, this was a Scoot game, and this was a Shaedon game. But it was also Donovan Clayton game. And it was also a Toumani Camara game because those dudes were in at the end. The Blazers played their intriguing lineup down the stretch. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the final play real quick, and then I got some other odds and ends. I told you this was jam-packed. Join me in the third segment. We'll keep on jamming it. First, though, I want to tell you about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and an official sports betting partner of the NBA that wants you to know that March Madness is here. And FanDuel's giving you a chance to get on the action. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 in extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. When the bracket comes out here, we are days away. It's good. You are listening to the Thursday, March 13th show. On Sunday, you're going to have a bracket in your hand. Eye some underdogs. Find some spreads you like. Pick a tournament team and say they're going all the way. Whatever it is, the FanDuel app is going to make it simple and easy to use and easy to have a little bit of fun on both the men's and women's tournaments, which begin in earnest next week. So visit FanDuel.com. Get in on college hoops action all tournament long. Still a pass first point guard. Still Mike Richmond. Still listen to Locked On Blazers. At the 6.5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, Anthony Simons, who had a real stinker, goes to the bench. Shaedon Sharpe comes in, and Chauncey Billups decides to close the game with Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Toumani Camara, Deni Avdija, and Donovan Clingan. My longtime listeners will know, shout out to my everydayers, that this was my beginning of the season intriguing lineup, once known as the disappearing lineup. But y'all, this thing appeared in March. It's just intriguing now. My prediction at the beginning of the year was that lineup. I have done this for many moons. I've done this for this is year year 5 of doing this. In the prior 4 years, the lineups that I'd chosen as like interesting at the beginning of the season had played at 9 total minutes together. I just like have this magic trick. I said my prediction was this lineup was going to play 9 minutes in one game, and we damn near got it tonight. Before Tumani fouled out, and Anfernee Simons came in for one offensive possession at the end of the fourth quarter, but that group basically played 7.5 straight minutes together. Give or take here and there, but basically a little shy of 8 minutes, but we'll call it 7.5 consecutive minutes together. And they were good. Now, when they checked in, the Knicks led by 1. Obviously, the Knicks lead swelled and they had to come back, but they did come back. They forced OT because Scoot got the ball in his hands and he got to cook. He was the guy stirring the drink, and it was unquestionable. We're going to play through Scoot. They're going to run pick and rolls. That's the royal we there. They're going to play through Scoot. They're going to, have him be the initiator, have him be the aggressor, have him be the guy that gets everything going, and then play off of his drives, play off of his aggression. It wasn't Shea down the stretch. It wasn't Deni down the stretch. It wasn't Anfernee because he was on the bench. It was Scoot, and the other guys kind of, he brought him along the final 8 points of regulation. Final 8 points of regulation, like freaking 18 in the fourth quarter. The intriguing lineup. They weren't on there. They didn't end the game because Tumani ended up fouling out, and when he missed a putback and fouled on offensive rebound attempt with 3:45 left. But this was huge. This is what I've wanted to see all year. This is why I think this is one of the best Blazer games all year, because you got a great Scoot game. You got really good Shaedon Sharpe minutes in the middle quarters. Deni was awesome as a tone setter to start the game, and damn near ended it with a game winner and had a huge night in the box score. And like, Chauncey Billups rode his like core of dudes under 25 and said, "Hey, this is every time he's not much older than these guys, but he's more experienced, and he seems like, because of the dynamic between Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson, I think the age thing gets a little mixed up because of Sharpe and Scoot being these like guys still on the rookie contracts. Like Anfernee Simons is like more sort of like in their way in the sort of larger development picture, but he's not significantly older, certainly not than Tumani and Deni. In any case, you play the intriguing lineup. You get really good production out of it. It lets Scoot be the guy, and he thrives in that role, and you almost pull out a win. And it was incredibly gritty, and it was kind of ugly, and there was a lot of weird ref stuff, and the Blazers played tough, and a certain amount of toughness and grit that you can really appreciate, and feels like, hey, these are characteristics you can build on, and what you're building on with is the young core that you feel like is part of what's next. I think this was a really, obviously that's the lineup I've been wanting to see all year, but it was, I think that was meaningful. Final possession of the game. Okay, Chauncey Billups said a couple things I think are interesting. He said he wanted his guys to take a foul because they had a foul to give on that dribble handoff, on that, like, not when the guy's going either shooting motion or dribbling or looking for a shot, but if there was an opportunity to foul, and there was when Josh Hart came up and got it and then flipped it back to Mikal Bridges on that dribble handoff, you immediately foul. But the person guarding the inbounds pass was Shaedon Sharpe, and the person guarding Josh Hart was Donovan Clingan. Those are not the dudes you want to trust to do that. Sharpe is not that type of like high IQ defender. In fact, that's like why he lost some playing time at some point, right? Is because like he wasn't playing at that. He's not heady like that. He's very, very talented, but he's not heady like that, where he's like, oh yeah, this is our opportunity to kind of like use our foul. They didn't do it. They let Bridges get into a shot. And I also asked about Billups about the sort of what he saw in that final possession and what he would have wanted Donovan Clingan to do differently. And he said, I would have wanted Donovan Clingan off the floor. And I couldn't agree more. I don't know why Donovan Clingan was in the game at all. You know they're going to shoot a three. Billups said he was some of his consideration was if they get a shot up, he wants the best rebounder on the court. That's fine, but there's 3.5 seconds left. You want to defend the jump shot they're almost certainly going to take as best you can, because they probably don't have time to get all the way to the rim. And if they do start going to the rim and don't take a shot very, very early, very unlikely that you're going to have a rebound available to you. Plus, the way they've been guarding it, Deni Avdija had been guarding Karl Anthony Towns for like 4 straight minutes. So the Knicks' biggest player had a significant size advantage on Avdija. Obviously, he had 15 rebounds and was good on the glass, but like it just doesn't make sense. You have to, with no Jeremy Grant available and Toumani Camara fouled out, you are putting like smaller, worse defenders in the game. I guess you could put Delano Banton in there. Like there's not a lot of great choices. Unless you play Matisse Thybulle out of nowhere. That would have been really weird, but if there's ever been a time to be like, hey, can you give me 3.5 seconds? It was that time. And for the first time all season long, Matisse Thybulle was available. Now, I don't think it would have been reasonable or even likely or any other coach in the league would have played Matisse Thybulle in those final 3.5 seconds. But if there's ever been a time when you like, we need one more smart, switchy wing defender, we have one. We have one. Both Matisse Thybulle and Rob Williams were active and got DNP-CDs, where it did not play coach's decisions tonight. Matisse Thybulle's first game on the active list all year, he told reporters before the game, Chauncey Billups told reporters before the game that while Matisse was active, he hadn't seen him practice yet, and he just didn't have a plan for him. I bet Matisse sees action on Sunday when the Blazers play the Raptors. I bet we'll get the season debut from Matisse. I thought it was curious with a healthy and available Rob Williams. Duop Reith played over him. We have not seen that all year long. It's the first time that exact scenario where Reith, healthy, has played over Williams when available. It's always been Williams in those minutes. Duop was pretty good in this game, quite frankly. He's had some recent games, last couple, where he's just shot the ball a lot and missed them. I believe it was one for his last 10 coming into this game. He did shoot better in this game, made 2 of 6 from 3, but he also blocked 3 shots. Duop was not by any means a problem in this game. I don't think he was like exceptionally good, but I don't think he was a problem in this game. I just thought it was curious that Rob was available and did not play over Duop because that's the first time that's happened all year. I thought it was curious that Matisse did not play, but obviously they just weren't ready. They weren't ready for a variety of reasons. Okay, the final thing. And I thought this was going to be a bigger part of the show, but the game was too damn good to talk about it. Prior to tip-off, the game already started on an incredible note, quite literally. One of the Knicks' assistants is former Blazers head coach Maurice Cheeks. And back in 2003, during the playoffs, home game 3 against the Dallas Mavericks, way back in 2003. Shout out to Josh Howard. A young teenager was singing the national anthem. Then Natalie Gilbert got up there and stumbled over the words, stumbled over the sort of end of the song, froze up in a big scene, and Maurice Cheeks, the Blazers head coach, kind of walked out onto the court and said, "Here we go," and helped her pick up the lyrics where she messed up, where she slipped up. Then the crowd got involved and helped them sing, and they kind of finished the song together. Mo Cheeks gave her a hug. Natalie Gilbert leaves, and it becomes this sort of viral moment. Like if you're familiar with it, the girl who screwed up the national anthem and Mo Cheeks came out and sang with her. You may have seen it on various clips and maybe not have been able to place it unless you're a serious Blazer fan and you're listening deep into this podcast on a Thursday in March. You probably are. Or you're my dad or uncle. Hi, Matt. Hi, Dad. In any case, that moment in 2003 came full circle tonight with Maurice Cheeks in the building because Natalie Gilbert, now Natalie Zito, sang the national anthem. It was awesome. What a fun moment. What a fun and special moment for 22 years later. Not quite, I guess, because that happened a little later in the season, but 22 years later, Natalie Zito gets up and crushes the national anthem. And during late in the song, they flipped over to Maurice Cheeks on the big screen in the arena, and the fans, they kind of introduced it beforehand. I thought they nailed the moment. I thought Blazers Game Ops absolutely nailed the moment with this. They set the stage, and Mark Mason, who's a Blazers PA person, explained what was happening and what you might remember from way back in 2003, and they showed a clip of it. And then he said, and now she's back, Natalie Zito, and she comes out and sings. And then they show Mo Cheeks on the board on the screen towards the end of the anthem. The crowd goes nuts. She finished the song strong. Everybody celebrates, and they mentioned that Cheeks and Zito had a moment before the game where they came out and took photos at midcourt and met each other, and just an awesome moment, a cool thing. I thought the Blazers absolutely crushed that moment. I thought it was a really cool way to do that, because if you don't know the context was provided for you. It was quick. It was a snappy, maybe, 3 minutes in and out of there, and you got to sort of appreciate and then have some closure on like hey, remember this awkward thing that happened when you were a teen? You're back, you're an adult, and you're crushing it. Super fun, loved it. I thought that was great. In fact, I may have done the game had gone a little differently. I may have done 6 minutes on it, not just 2.5. That rocked. Let's do more of this tomorrow. It's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.